Welcome back to Run After Cast, the college football podcast. I'm Aaron, joined by my two good friends, Ryan.
Hey guys.
And Chandler.
What's going on, gentlemen?
And this week, we brought special guests to join us here. We got Matt.
Hello. Good evening. Thanks for having me.
And we brought you on because today we're going to be talking about preseason spring practices at LSU. Since y'all are a little too good for spring games. But
sure are.
we're gonna get your input, get your breakdown of that, your season predictions, what you think it's gonna be after we take a trip over to the Raction News Desk to hear what we've missed this week.
So the only piece of news I have is been changing a lot, but as of late April 2026, Brennan Sorsby has taken an indefinite leave of absence to enter residential treatment for a gambling addiction. So it's been reported via New York Times that he has placed over 10,000 wagers since 2022, averaging about 20 bets a day at certain points, and he was betting on his own team, Indiana, during his 2022 redshirt season, and the NCAA has reportedly not had an official ruling on it, but they're likely to waive his eligibility completely in this 2026 season and deem him ineligible to return to college athletics. So after him being one of the number one transfer portal picks behind Sam Leavitt that LSU got, I don't think anybody saw this coming, but since we have Matthew on, I mean, he was supposed to go to LSU, so what is your opinion on dodging that bullet?
Dodged a real bullet there. Whew, when the news went across, I just could not believe it. Like, you have all this hype going in, and then bada boom, bada bing. Just lost of words. Insane. I can't believe it. Hopefully he won some bets, though, and some money.
He would have had
20 bets a day. You got to win some
That is
at least a couple times.
I mean,
God,
10,000 slips this man's put in? That's wild. In 2022 and 2023. I mean,
I feel like that when they first dropped this news and they mentioned he went to rehab, I would say in my cynical thought process on it, I was like, oh, he's getting out in front of it. But when the news started dropping that it was like 20 bets a day, I was like, that's a real lot.
Yeah,
that's a big amount. Yeah.
So do you think he's going to have to pay the NIL money back?
I think we're in some Wild West territory here.
Or did he even get the check
We don't know how
yet?
this is all
He might have
go.
not got the money yet. But if he did, I don't know.
If he doesn't play, I don't think he gets the money.
Yeah,
but is this rehab thing, is like this trying to like kind of be like a cover up so that they could maybe say it was like a huge issue and he doesn't get in trouble or like banned? Because like anyone else is just like, you're not playing football ever again.
I mean, there's definitely Texas Tech is a program here. They're gonna make a play. If you're in a program, you're talking this much money, you kind of have to. There's going to be all kinds of legal defenses here. I will say I feel for the kid because this is something that it isn't necessarily, he's probably not the only one out there doing it. I'm sure the team meetings this week have been, let's check your phones real quick. We're going to uninstall some apps. But in this case, it is going to be what I feel like the NCAA is going to make an example out of him. And I think they want to be very clear, get out in front of this, and they're going to come down heavy on him. And I think Texas Tech is going to rally together some money, and they're going to put in as much of a legal defense as they can in this to try to get out. And this is a huge hit to a season. This is this is bad news. So you got to do what you can here.
And to make it worse,
recoup.
He was under 21. Like, he wasn't even old enough to gamble when he did it. So not only is he putting 10,000 bets out, but he's also illegally betting age-wise, and he was betting in a state that at the time didn't allow sports betting. So, I mean, he was just the trifecta of just stupidity across the board.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it does feel like that is like a rule that shouldn't have to be explained. It's like you shouldn't do sports betting if you're an athlete. But just in case, we'll go ahead and make that.
If it was on like horse racing or something,
rule.
Like not on your
a
team.
completely separate sport, anything that you're not influencing the outcome of. But I think because of that, that's where they'll come down in the example territory. So wish him well. I hope the facility he's in helps him. I hope he personally comes out of this with recovery in a better place. I hope they don't go overboard in the punishment realm in terms of, stripping everything out in terms of like his legacy, his time in there. I hope they don't punish any, of the teams for things that are happening on an individual basis. But we'll see how it all shakes out as they make their mind up. And, as I've said a few times, I just hope it doesn't come down and do an overcorrection to the fix here.
How many years of eligibility do we have left? Do you know?
Well, according to the NCAA rule, they're saying he'd be banned from playing any college sports ever again. But the crazy thing is if that happens and they do like that full ruling and they do the most they can, he's not allowed to play college football anymore, then no NFL team's going to want him. So there has to be some kind of, I guess there doesn't have to be, but you would like to think that there'd be some kind of middle ground, because if he's completely banned from college sports now, then he's probably not going to get drafted. And like his career is essentially over from football if they like max
Agreed.
punishment him. And he had a bright future, and he was probably going to be a first or second round pick if he lived up to the hype. I mean, I understand both sides of it, but at the end of the day, he is a kid, and
yeah,
that's going to ruin his whole career if they fully punish him.
I mean, he did something dumb, but he didn't hurt anybody.
And he's using his own money. I mean,
yeah. So hopefully, if all of that goes through, he might find a place in the UFL, earn some stats back, get some footage, maybe move that forward. So see how it all burns out.
Yeah. On that note, though, if Prize Picks does want to sponsor the show, we're more than happy to take them on.
Let's take his NIL money and we'll do that.
We'll play $6 million worth
Just
of
give us one.
Prize Picks slips.
Give us
We'll
1
take
million.
one.
We'll take one, and yeah.
They can take his NIL deal or their NIL money. They can give that to the four of us, and we'll play rotating quarterback. One down play.
Man, yeah. Oof. I mean, so Sam Levitt, I mean, his bright side's looking up now, because that was a battle between them two coming to LSU. So
That was.
Yeah.
Even before this, I thought y'all got the better one with Sam Levitt. So
And we'll
that's
see.
good.
Hopefully he gets healthy. Hopefully we get healthy.
So did they cancel the spring games because 2C trashed the locker room, or has that not been confirmed?
So I think that's the rumor that's going around. So rumors are, typically 98% true.
Especially on TikTok.
Yeah.
They get mad
you
when
just
sing
can
for 'em
believe
anymore.
everything we see on the internet.
Chat GPT it.
Yeah.
His halftime performances are going to be incredible.
I know
They
they're
are.
having like sing
Coming out.
during lifts and stuff, and
Uh-huh.
he said no. They kicked him out.
Coming up in halftime.
In his jersey still.
So
So I appreciate you coming on the show, Wellesley.
Thank
Been
you
a
for having us.
long time in the works. How did you get into college football? How did you become an LSU fan? What does your journey look like?
So we'll start off with becoming an LSU fan. Well, probably from the age from 9. Actually, we'll start before 9. My dad, huge FSU fan. He went to FSU. He got his master's from FSU. And growing up, you always want to make your dad either proud or you want to go against your dad. I chose to go the hard route, and I ended up, of all teams, being a Florida Gator fan to start. Maybe from like the age from 6. It's probably 8, maybe 6 to 8. And then my oldest brother is a huge dog. He's a Georgia Bulldog. So he's my biggest inspiration. I'm a Georgia Bulldog for a little bit of time. And then the age of 9 comes around. And my brother's playing high school baseball. And there is, in LSU history, there's a famous baseball player. His name's Blake Dean. He went to high school down the road at Crestview. And my oldest brother was pretty good friends with him. And he always would come to our house. And then he ended up committing to LSU. We would go watch some baseball games over there. So it led in my backstory behind LSU is being an LSU baseball fan. And then all I cared about was LSU baseball probably until like the age of 15. And then all my friends I start playing football. My friends are talking about football. I have no idea what they're talking about. So then I start watching football. And then I got really big into it. Not as much now, but just a big football guy. We'll go with that. Now that my team has been pretty bad recently.
Because I remember in college when we lived together, you had a collection of Joe Burrow football cards. And I remember going down to the lobby and you would get like shipments like every other day of like, oh, I have more football cards coming in. And you're like collecting all of them. So I know.
I had a really, really bad addiction in college. I actually collected every single Joe Burrow rookie card that was ever, not every variation of it, but I had every single, Topps, Panini, just like the basic default ones. And I got some autographs. Over here, got some helmets and autograph helmet and some autograph PSA 10s of him, and Joe Burrow's my guy. I think Joe Burrow is what made me fall in love with LSU football, though. 19, Chandler came to a game with me. I went to, it was 7 of the 16 games, including the playoff game against Oklahoma. What are the good ones did we go to that year? We went to the Auburn game. Sorry, Teal. Texas A&M.
Dude, that was a tough one.
That year was just insane.
Oh yeah, I mean we lived super close to it too. So at the time it was like a day
Yeah,
trip
what-
to go over
we
there
had-
and watch it and then come back.
There was a 2:30 game, the Auburn game that we went to.
Seeing Joe
Yeah,
Burrow
on the
in
first
person is in college with Jamar, and I mean that
Yeah.
was a good time.
Yeah, Jay
Justin
Jettis. I
Jefferson,
mean, just the
yeah.
talent on that team.
Okay,
Thaddeus
while we have
Moss.
you here, while we're on this, Matthew, do you think Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase is better?
I think Jay Jettis is better personally.
Okay.
And know what's crazy was that he was a 3-star coming out of high school.
He had the chip
He
on
was
his
a
shoulder.
3-star. I liked the first episode with y'all because since Teal's an Auburn fan, I have to say the greatest game I've ever been to, though. Teal, if you had to take a guess of my best game I've been to, what would you say? What's your favorite game of all time besides the Iron Bowl?
The Johnny Manziel Alabama game from 2013.
It was an Auburn Georgia game, 13. You know, the Hail Mary.
The prayer of Jordan Hare. My dad was there.
Yeah. So my brother, he's a big Georgia fan. We went up and we were sitting in the Auburn faculty section, like right behind the hedges. And that was the most crazy game I've ever been to, but not an LSU story, but I figured I had to tell you. That's my
I
favorite game
appreciate
I've ever
that.
been to.
I didn't know that. I don't know how that never
did.
came up.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
You should ask my brother all about it.
I'm sure your brother remembers that day
Yes, he does.
just crystal clear.
Yes.
Is this the one that likes throwing golf clubs at the cart?
That's the one. That's the
Yeah, I
one.
bet he was real happy.
Oh, he was.
Man.
Brings his own golf club to the stadiums.
Imagine having to drive home with him.
No. Yeah. Probably she made it home.
So a lot of moving parts, a lot of changes in LSU this year. So I mean, the
Yeah.
biggest, don't want to bury the lead on it. How do you feel about Lane Kiffin coming over? How's he going to turn out? I know he's a hot spot in the media, so there's going to be a lot of cameras always on you,
He is the hot spot on the media, that's for sure.
especially in the hot yoga. He's a hot spot
I
there
don't
too.
know. I'm still like in awe that he is coming to LSU. And I always think if I was in his shoes, what if I was in somebody else's shoes, what would I have done? And my biggest thing is I always say, why would I not stay at Ole Miss? Now I'm just going to start it off with that. You could have stayed at Ole Miss and you built that program from where it was to where he is, like where he left it. He's like the Nick Saban at Ole Miss. If he would have stayed, he would have a statue. I mean, they made the playoff, and then he's coming to LSU, what has recently been a pretty dumpster fire of a program all around. So he's going in, and everyone's thinking coming in, it's going to be he's the savior. And year one, let's get down to business. We're going 11-1, 10-2. I don't see it happening. That's just me. So I think the bar is set really, really high. I think this first year it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
How do you think he is as a fit for the program, though? As a strongly cultured school like LSU,
I think he'll fit in.
Will fit in?
I think he'll fit in. I think he'll do the job. I mean, he's going to all these basketball games and everything. Like he is fitting in the culture that is LSU right now. I believe, from what I've seen.
He's definitely bought in.
So, yeah,
I can see it. As much as a Mississippi State fan, him leaving Ole Miss, great for us. Yeah, he did take that program to the farthest it's ever been.
Yeah.
So good for y'all bringing it in. But I also feel like as he left, he kind of embraced the villain role that the media put him into. I think he's still doing it. His trash talking, sending tweets over about like baseball and softball games. And it's like, he doesn't have to do it. But every LSU fan I've hung out with, very cool people to hang out with. But if you go see them on game day, they are different people. That it's aggressive.
They're pre-gaming. They're tailgating at 6:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah, if they haven't started from the night before. So it is something that I can see him embracing that role, being a fiery guy for y'all, and I think y'all will embrace that too. I think on game day, that's the environment you like, where, with the Brian Kelly era, he looked like a guy who complained that oatmeal was too spicy, and I just don't think that was going to vibe well.
It all started at it's a great day to be a Tiger.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Gosh.
first
You made a
Meet the Fans
hell of
day
an
was a
impression.
rough one.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do think
But I
that
think
Lane Kiffin is a player's coach to the T, and I think he's always going to buy into whatever culture he's in. And I think with how rich LSU's culture is and how addictive it is when you're around it. I mean, anywhere around Baton Rouge and really the whole state of Louisiana is just diehard LSU. And I think being there and being in that is so much different than anywhere else in the country that it's going to be very easy for him to kind of hit the ground running. But it's also important that he doesn't go in and set the bar too high in the media before the season starts and then undershoot it. And then he's on the hot seat when he created it for himself.
that's one thing I thought that he was. I think he is so smart for not having his spring game at LSU, because you already have all this media that is at LSU, and with him and these players transferring and not having that extra pressure, injuries, and that media at the spring game, I feel like it was very beneficial, that aspect.
For sure.
Now come September, when the season starts, we'll see, because they're not having that actual in-game moments and that pressure building moments that other teams have had.
And as a fan of LSU football, how much patience do you have for this first season? As our era of people start yelling immediately, is this something where you're looking for just progress? Are you looking for where's the pedestal for you?
See, I'm hearing all different things. Like, it's already playoff or there's nothing. He made the playoff with Ole Miss, and he should be able to come here with a better talented roster and be able to do that already. My pedestal is not that high. So for this season, I could see us being good, but not great. Now, everything in today's world, it's based off wins. Let's go 10-2. Let's go 7-5. I think this team can go 8-4, and it means two completely different things. They can go 8-4, but you beat Alabama, but you lose to, let's say, Louisiana Tech. Not going to happen, but the inconsistency, I feel, plays two different roles of a record.
That's true. Yeah, there's definitely a thing of good losses and bad losses, and you don't want to ever have those losses that you should win 100 times out of 100, but then you go in and beat an Alabama, like you said. So that definitely helps whenever your losses are against an Alabama by like 3 points, or like to a Georgia on the road from a last-second field goal. Like those losses definitely look better.
I feel like that was the thing with Bryant too. That was just so frustrating. It was just so inconsistent with everything that they did. You had some games where you're running the ball, you're throwing the ball, and all things are good. But then you have the next game. I don't even know who it was the second. Like against Clemson, they looked like a legitimate playoff contender. We had all this hype going on the road. What was it, number 4 Clemson?
Yeah.
And defense was spot on, offense was spot on. Garrett looked good, but then this next game against a nobody, it looked like dog poop. And I feel like that's been LSU stories since Brian Kelly was hired. Opening games with FSU, they looked disastrous, and then the next game, they're looking good. That was the most frustrating part of the past couple of years. So this
like
year,
what we talked about with Ryan, the Auburn standard and the Auburn bar, like it's important to not have that drop as the years go. You want to keep that same kind of standard year in and year out, no matter what coaching staff you have coming in, whatever player roster you have coming in, whatever your standard is should always be your standard. So you should be able to have that consistency throughout your program, no matter who's coming in the door.
So, I mean, I think for this year, me personally, I would be happy with 7, 8, 9 wins. But, I mean, they got a tough schedule this year.
It is.
I think games that they're going to be underdogs in is going to be at Ole Miss, at Tennessee, Alabama, and Texas. Then there's some 50-50 games, which, I think it could go either way. I think that's going to be Clemson. I think that's going to be A&M, both at home. Auburn on the road. Jordan Hare, that place is different, man. Especially a night game. You're telling me these fans are like that at a night game with these blue lights going boom, boom, boom. That is intimidating.
It's definitely loud for sure.
And then another 50-50, I think, at Kentucky. They got a new coach coming in. I think it's a sneaky environment, and I think they're a disciplined football team.
I don't think
they
you
will
have a
be.
problem with Kentucky or Clemson.
Seen enough Kentucky games to agree with you there. Kentucky is one that can come up and surprise you.
It's a basketball
It's
school.
something where you can be predicted to win all the way, and then all of a sudden you just fall apart playing at Kentucky. And it isn't that they beat you, it's that you as a team fall apart. And something there's something with the crowd, something with what they do that can unnerve a team.
What was it last year with Georgia?
Scrappy.
That it was right
Mhm.
there, and they had an upset against Florida a couple years ago.
Yeah, I mean, we lost last year, but Hugh Freeze lost on purpose because they lowered his buyout. But that's
Yeah, they had a baseball score against Kentucky last year.
yeah, they actually lost to the World Series on the same day, and they scored less than like the Blue Jays, I think.
That's rough. So what are your key pieces you're looking for this season? Like from the spring, I know that there's been clips and media days at practice on LSU. So what are your key things that you were looking for that you want to see? Because I know you have a huge transfer portal haul coming in. So you basically have a brand new roster. There's like
50 new players in spring practice.
So I mean, there's only so many expectations you can have. But what are some people that you're interested in, or have your eye out for?
One thing that I'm going to say is that QB room, that room is wide open. Sam Levitt does not have that job. During spring practices, Houston Longstreet and Landon Clark. Landon Clark was the top dog of the quarterback room. Now, Sam Levitt didn't really get to play too much, but Landon Clark, he was playing first team reps as soon as he got in, and instantly with Tradez, Harlan Berry. I mean, from what it saw and from what I was reading, is that chemistry with them already with Landon Clark? It's already up there. Now, Sam's coming off an injury, and I mean, anyone off an injury, you're not going to be the same person. So the QB room, I think that's going to be wide open come fall camp. I think the offense is what needs to stay consistent and what's going to be the determination factor of how good this football team is. Because it's like last year, you cannot rely. Now, I think the defense is going to be really good again, but you can't rely on the defense all 12 games, especially come this SEC schedule with this tough schedule that you got to pull out of games. Now they're going to come up with their clutch stops, yes, but that offense has got to capitalize when they need to.
Yeah, you can't have 13 points averaged a game.
Well, it was awful. They could not run. I think Harlan Berry coming back, their running back room, I mean, the pieces are there. It's just got to come together. And I know not having the spring game, I think it also is very beneficial because it is allowing them more time to install these new schemes and everything. Compared to, we got the spring game right here. This is what we're going to go with. Boom, 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 boom. Let's build off that. They don't know what works and what doesn't work. It's going to look very, very different, and it's going to be a lot of adjusting pieces that hopefully an offense can adjust to.
We'll say Lane historically has these big kind of dynamic offenses at Alabama, Ole Miss. So it's kind of good that I feel like y'all are one of those teams that needs the offense. We were kind of in the same boat last year. Pretty good defense, terrible offense, but we had like key little weapons there. So I think he's going to be able to come utilize them. I like Harlan Berry. Do y'all have any other running backs this year y'all got in the transfer portal?
I can't tell you offhand. I didn't do that much research.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I think y'all be good.
That's interesting you say that about Sam Levitt, though, because it's so media pressed, and we talk about that a lot on how media driven hype is, and him being the number one transfer portal guy, Lane Kiffin jumping through all these hoops to get him and closing the deal.
Yeah.
That was a huge media day and feed everywhere on all social medias that he was the guy. He was the highest paid quarterback in the transfer portal. And now for you to say that the quarterback room is fair game for anybody is interesting, because that's definitely something you don't read in the media, and there's probably more truth to that than what the media wants to say.
It'll be interesting.
Well, and it is something we know about Kiffin is he's got an eye for quarterbacks. And there could be something in Levitt that he sees, but if it's not firing, there could be something in Clark that he's running with, that he's seeing timing, he's seeing things come through. Because I didn't realize that 50 new players coming in. That's a massive roster shift.
Huge.
So Sam Levitt could be something that it's like once that starts clicking, it's there. See how it goes in fall. That's something where I think it's smart he didn't do a spring game. because I didn't realize they were that new. Things were going to look clunky. But if you go to practice, everything's controlled. You've got an environment that you don't have to put somebody in unfamiliar situations for, no broken coverage or broken line or anything like that could be picked apart. And he seems like one of those guys that wants that controlled presence.
Is it true that from now, I don't know, is there another open transfer portal period?
No,
No.
unless a
So
coach
everyone,
leaves.
okay. So that's the only thing? If
Yeah.
the coach leaves?
Now, there is transferring to schools as a student and going in for your middle ranks, but they're not officially transfer portaled. They are stopping academics at one school, going to a different one, and then they kind of go in through the back door, essentially. That's mumbles and talks in the background that you hear about, but I don't know any prime examples of it happening. But I do
Well,
know
that's like
that's
with Tusi
something
with
that
his
they've
master
done.
stuff. He went and signed on to be academics first LSU, and then he walked on to the LSU football team. But I mean, going back to your Sam Levitt talk, I think Lane can't be scared to play the best player on the field. I don't think he ever has been. But just because you're paying a guy the money that Sam Levitt's getting, if he doesn't pan out or he doesn't have the chemistry with the team, then you can't play him just because you're paying him. So I think he
I agree.
is a good guy to not do that and fall into that trap. I think Lane will play the best people on the field that has the best chemistry. And I think
I agree.
if Sam Levitt doesn't end up starting, and what was the other guy's name that you said was doing really well?
Landon Clark.
Yeah, if Landon Clark comes in and just lights it up, if he plays and starts, you're going to get off-rip media like going, oh, we got Sam Levitt. Like if we start losing games immediately because Sam Levitt's not playing. So it's going to be a media battle the whole time. But I definitely think Lane will play the right people.
Yeah, I don't think
I
he
think so.
cares.
No.
I think
I
he'll
don't think
just do
so.
whatever.
He's not a
Yeah.
people pleaser.
No, and he loves the press. He likes
Yeah.
people talking about the program, whether it's good, whether it's bad. He's going to do what he's going to do. And I think he's there to win, which it's good to have in a coach coming in, but that's the type of guy he is. Now, I do have a question. Do you think he's there to stay, or do you think this is another stepping stone for him?
I think it's eventually, I think it's one more stepping stone to ultimately what would be his end destination. And I think that's Alabama. So I could see in the future if DeBoer goes somewhere and that door's wide open, I could see a Lane going up there. It was a scare this past year because with Penn State being open, there were those rumors going around that DeBoer is going to go up to Penn State, and before Lane even gets to LSU, he's going to go to Alabama. I'm like, oh boy, this is not good. But I think it's just another stepping stone. If he stays and it's successful, then I'm all for it.
I mean, LSU is a large historic program. I mean, that is some. I mean, we can say Alabama as well. I mean, that's a huge school. That's a huge get. But do you think he's looking collegiate, or do you think he might be looking down the road towards NFL?
I don't see it. I see him being a college guy. Him with doing all this. For example, every time I think of Lane Kiffin and being a college coach, I think of him and his defensive boys when they get a turnover. He got the basketball hoop and he's like, hey, give me that ball. He's throwing it up and these kids are dunking and all that. They don't do that in the NFL. I think that is him. That's I see when I think of Lane Kiffin, that is him with those
He does have that
I agree with you.
personality. Yeah.
Yeah. Where in the NFL, the big personas tend to not go. They don't like that as much. They like the controlled PR presence, and I think Lane wants to be a big persona.
I mean, you can almost get paid the same amount in college as NFL as a coach now. I mean, coordinators are making $2, $3, $4 million a year now. I think Matt Patricia's is like $3.5 million a year. And he's a defensive coordinator. So I mean, if it's almost a which one do you like more? Or which one, like if you don't like going on the recruiting trail and being a CEO type person and having to go out and constantly be at people's houses or high school games and all that kind of stuff, then you'd probably lean towards NFL. But I mean, if the money's the problem, I mean, I think if you're going to a big place like the LSUs, then they're going to be able to match pretty closely to what somebody's going to give you in the NFL, especially now with how much money's floating around.
I think to build on with that, just another huge aspect of LSU's offseason was getting Blake Baker back. And the fact that he could have went to his alma mater of Tulane, and with those talks were there that was going to be the next thing, and LSU is going to be looking for a new defensive coordinator, and then all these guys are going to transfer out. But then Lane gets him to stay, and and I don't know the exact contract and everything of what he would have got at Tulane or what his exact contract is at LSU, but I'm pretty sure that it's remotely close to what he would have got as a head coach position. Now, it's not a powerhouse of all things, but it's his alma mater, and it's a head coaching job to get a head coaching career started.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, money is floating everywhere.
Yes.
I
And
think
that's
it's good
why
he stayed though. I mean, he's a defensive guy. I think some of those guys are better as coordinators rather than head coaches. And he already had a good defense, so he just had to have Lane come clean up the offense a little. He kind of just needed to keep doing his thing. So
We'll see.
probably pretty good.
I just think it gets to a point where if you're in a good position and they're going to pay you a good amount of money, then there's a lot of people that will like force leave to go try to get that head
Mhm.
coaching job or try to get that higher paid coordinating job somewhere else, and it just doesn't work out. It's one of those situations where the grass
Yeah.
always isn't greener. And I think if he stays at LSU, I mean, he proved last year that they can be a great defense. They can playing
Well,
twice as much as the offense did because of how much they were on the field. They constantly kept them in games. So I mean, if he can keep doing that, why leave? It's LSU.
yeah. Well, and if you believe in the program at that point, if you believe that Kiffin's the coach that you're going to work under, that's going to take you to that championship, to the playoffs even, that only raises your value into that first step. So I could see arguments all around the table. It's a lot of money that gets thrown. But if you're believing in the program, and that's a credit to Kiffin for getting somebody to whatever he said, it was enough to believe in. Whether it's true or whether it's hot air, we'll find out in the season. But whatever he did worked. So with taking that all in, what do you want to see from spring practices from last season into this coming season? Where do you think the most improvement is needed?
Biggest thing from last year to this year? That's a really good question. Sorry about the fresh fields too.
Fried cut on a stick, please. This is
Are they
good.
get-
What is it? Meow,
Are they
meow.
going to be? Are they going to be consistent? Are we going to see consistent football on all sides of the ball? Are we going to see some muff punts this year? Are we going to have some quarterback answers? You're going to have some healthy quarterbacks? Are we going to be able to stay healthy?
Yeah, I know watching those season openers with special teams under the Kelly
Boy.
era, those were,
What?
you felt terrible when you'd see the muff punts, the muff kickoffs. It seemed like a curse on y'all that you couldn't shake.
So his first game as an LSU Tiger, I actually went to the game out in New Orleans. Oh man, I'm with FSU fans. I'm sitting next to them, sitting in the FSU section. It was disastrous. It was just so embarrassing. Like they are just looking like a high school football team, worse than a high school football team. Fun fact, I actually ended up leaving that game. I don't even know. It was the beginning of the fourth quarter, and
I remember you
it
called me.
was. I knew. I called you.
Oh, I
Well,
remember this.
no. Chandler called me because I had no interest in the game at all. My team lost. I'm in the middle of New Orleans. I have no friends right now. My phone is dead. I don't know where we parked. So I don't know what was first.
Your
First things first, I'm walking by a bookstore and Chandler's calling saying, "Hey, you guys just got the ball. You guys just got the ball above the punt." I'm like, "What's going on? Did I just leave? About to be this amazing comeback that's going on?" So they end up scoring. I'm on the phone with Chandler, and all was going good without being on the phone with Chandler. Then I get on the phone with Chandler. That's whenever they finally score, but then they block that field goal. I just remember, and this is to go on to the Brian Kelly phase. I paid $40 for two 16-ounce beers from this random guy just at the end. That summed up my Brian Kelly coaching era. Just on the side, yeah.
Just a questionable beer to patch over the feelings there.
I remember we used to always call each other during, like, when you were at the games, like whenever they were on offense and they were doing well, you would call.
Yeah.
And then whenever they stopped doing well, you would not call anymore. But every offensive drive they were doing well, you would keep calling me.
And then I went to the year after when they played in Orlando, and it was a competitive football game for the first half. I think LSU was even winning after the first half. and then they just got dominated. If we could pull up the box score of what the score was in the second half, if I could, I would. It was awful. So embarrassing. And then what? I think the year after that was UCLA, but gosh,
Just masterclass of Brian Kelly.
I don't know. He went to Clemson and beat Clemson at Clemson, which no matter how good or bad Clemson is, like a game of that magnitude to go in of what was a top 10 matchup and to go into the fake Death Valley and then win and come out with a win that game. I mean, that's a pretty impressive win. That game, and so you got to give that to him at least. But
Yeah.
biggest thing going into this year from the previous years is the consistency. They stay consistent. I think 8-4 being a consistent football team is better than a 7-5. I'm sorry, better than a 9-3 non-consistent football team.
Yeah, win the games you should. Lose a coin flip game here and there. It's okay.
Sorry, maybe I should have used the 7-5, 8-4 because that's a lot better.
You know, I think when we went through the record, I said y'all win 9 games. I think I said y'all will go 9-3.
9-3.
I
I'd be
think I
happy
could
with
see it. 8-4,
I would-
9-3. I could see it.
I would love it. 8-4. I think 8-4 is a good year. If they go 8-4 and they won the games that they should have, I think it's a good year.
Now,
Y'all
what's
beat
your
Alabama?
what's your hot seat looking like for Lane Kiffin? What kind of season would he have to have for him to have some negative media attention come in? Like, obviously, you're not going to fire him because you just hired him. But what would it take for him to be like, is this the right guy we hired, or did we just hire a guy that's all hype?
I think if they go 6-6, and that's when people are going to say that they're on the hot. I don't think there should be a hot seat this year, yo.
No,
You're coming in
no.
this brand new. Well, anywhere you go, people are going to say, "Oh, this guy sucks," and
Especially how
even
much
if he
money's
goes,
going around.
even if he goes
Yeah.
9-3, I guarantee people are going to say that.
Yeah. You can't please
Yeah,
every
anything
couch
short
fan.
of a national championship, you're gonna have fans that
Mhm.
call for someone's head. Now, how many years in a row could you not win an SEC game with that in the hot seat?
Oh man,
Not for any particular reason, not because
Yeah.
I'm a Mississippi State fan and we won our first one for the first time in 3 years last year. But
And
I
you're the
would
guy
say
that
it-
always sits there and says that Auburn and Mississippi State are in the same boat. That's after you just won your first
Hey.
SEC game.
hey, it's the tail of the tape, right? You're only as good as last season's stats.
I think if they go 7-5, I think they met up to expectations. That means that you beat everyone that you should have, and so I could see them losing at Ole Miss, at Alabama, or no, Alabama's at home, at Tennessee, and Texas at home.
I mean, the Ole Miss game is going to be the game of the year.
I think so.
We've already
Ticket
talked
prices
about
are already
that.
insane.
I
It
believe
should
it.
be. It is
Yeah.
easily a hype game. Like
I think if you're
one
an
of
Ole
the
Miss
most. I
fan,
can't
you
wait
get
to
a
watch
gun with your ticket just to bring in the stadium just in case, start a riot in there.
Mhm.
it. I think I said Mississippi. There's not a lot to live for, but there's a lot worth killing a man for.
No, and I think that's week 3.
Yeah, it's early.
Yeah, it is
I think, yeah.
early.
We'll have to have you on the show at Little Round Table. We'll have to do an in-person recording for that one, and we can do some live
Oh
recording
yeah.
for that one.
Make sure the max charged and update it.
Well, you won't need it. You won't need it if we go in person.
Yeah.
I don't
Now,
know.
with that quote or with that idea of like 7-5, 7-5, how much of an improvement would the following season to you need to be? Do you need to see a strong improvement or just improvement to keep on the hype there?
I don't think seeing immediate success in today's football world, I feel like it's tough. With NIL, I mean, you have all these players and all this money going everywhere, which, yes, LSU has all this money and they're bringing in this talent. But until you can figure out a scheme that is working and you adjust to this culture that is LSU football, until that is established with him, I think, being like a 7-5, 8-4 norm for 2 to 3 years. And then when you figure that out, man, then it's go time.
Yeah.
But it's going to take time to figure it out. You're going
I
into
think
something.
that's completely refreshing to hear. I think that is something that we as fans need to start reeling back in to stop wanting immediate success. And especially in somebody like Lane Kiffin, we've talked about on the show before with Dan Mullen, developing coaches need time to develop. You can't bring them in for what they're good at and then not give them the opportunity to be good at what they do. So I think you have to accept bringing in a new change can lead to a season where you might just be bowling. You might be at that benchmark or right at the threshold. And that doesn't mean you're never going to win another game. in your life. So it is good to hear. I think having rational conversations like that does help. I mean, I get emotional, I get hype as much as anybody else does, but I think there's something where you have to say either the program is developing, I'm waiting to see improvement, or we're nosediving. And I think then that's a time to pull the chute.
Yeah, but you'll see when that time comes.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think I would argue that NIL and the transfer portal makes it harder to have immediate success, where I think the media and the fan base is pushing that it should be easier because you can just buy who you want. But the problem is the people in the transfer portal are not always the best at their position. Those are most of the time, of course, there's the one-off guys, and we use Ohio State guys as examples. There's the Caleb Downs, the Quinshawn Judkins, the Julian Sands that leave because a coach leaves. But for the most part, these guys are leaving because they're not starting, or they don't see an immediate step-in future in a starting role at the program they're in. So it's going to take time for these guys to go over into a new program, into a new scheme, get that scheme down, build that chemistry, and then start an upward progression in their progress. And all these guys think that, like, oh, we paid $6 million for this guy in the transfer portal. Well, that's all great. He might not be worth that much money, but he also has to have time to get in that starting role that he's never been in.
Yeah, I think so too. A lot of time, it seems almost like you have immediate access to all these people because there's so many people in the transfer portal. But like big schools like LSU in the past, it's like there was only a few schools that were the one big school in their state that really had access to all these people, and everyone wanted to go there for appeal. And then now it's like everyone actually has access to these guys. They're going to where the money is, and it's really just spreading out the talent pool instead of you going to the big school like LSU. Y'all really did have access to everybody before. Ohio State had access to everybody before.
Especially out of high school, yeah. I mean, that makes a huge difference because now you get a guy that's like Cade McDonald was a Georgia guy. He lived like an hour away from Athens, and Georgia was like in his backyard. He grew up, I think, a Georgia fan. And Ohio State, I mean, they paid him what he wanted and got him in there. So I mean, that's a guy that went across country that should have been a Georgia lock because he was right next door. So I mean, it just the talent's going to be super spread at a high school, and the recruiting is going to come down to that last day whenever signing day happens. You're going to get those day flips where people aren't like, oh, wow, how in the world did that school get involved? It just takes last minute phone calls.
Yeah, and all this talent's going everywhere. Like Quincy and Milan last year just didn't play, so they went to Notre Dame. And then you have Deuce Knight, who he just didn't play. He just goes like all these really, really good guys. Instead of just going with one school, they're just going to go to the next level down to play immediately and get $1 million. I think that brings up too the thing we were talking about at the gym the other day, that there's coaches that know how to transfer and win now, and then there's the difference between like the people that know how to develop. I think a good thing for you, I think that Lane is one of the guys that he like has developed, but I think he is one of the people that can go in the transfer portal and win. Like last year, they only had 2 returners on their whole lineup. So I think that's an upside for y'all. But yeah, it's just a total different game now. I mean,
it is, but Louisiana has so much talent.
I think an insane amount.
I think one thing, probably the most hurtful thing for LSU this year was Frank Wilson going to Ole Miss. Frank Wilson was LSU's halfback coach, and they kind of just did like a little switcheroo. But one thing that I found out when all this stuff is going on, when they got Lane, and I really wanted Frank to stay, because, you know, Frank with Harlem and seeing him with these running backs, he's a player's coach. I didn't know that before he went to LSU, he was actually a head coach in the New Orleans area. And I found out that he has all these ties to New Orleans and in Louisiana, that it had that extra added bonus in for recruiting. And having that go, I think that hurts so bad. Transfer portal is awesome, but I think recruiting, it's still so important, which I don't think it's overlooked now that the NIL and transfer portal is here.
And I
think in the media we overlook it, like as we hear a lot of the discussions, but I think good programs are still going to games. I think they're still checking out high school level athletes outside 4-star and 5-star. I think you're still scouting, but your local talent is your easiest to track, and being able to see who's really good or who's having a good statistical season. is a big difference. And when we talk about transfer portal, we can just grab any player and throw them into a system. But how many players a year are actually at that level that they can go into any system and turn it into a playoff caliber team? We talked earlier about Joe Burrows. He is one of those guys, but how many times do we see somebody of that level show up to a place and then dominate? Because that's really what happened. Is LSU was firing on so many cylinders, but Joe Burrow, I think you put him on just about any offense and he's putting up numbers. It just so happened that it clicked all together there, and it got him all the way.
Yeah. Yeah, you saw it in 2018, his first year. Like when he got down to Baton Rouge and Louisiana, just he is connecting with the culture, and he is becoming a Louisiana native. It's like the day that he gets down there, he's posting an Instagram photo saying, I saw a crocodile for the first time. And it's like, all right, this is our quarterback. Let's go.
He had to get out of
And
the
then-
coldness of Columbus, man. It's too cold up there.
I think that's one reason why I love him so much. It's his story. Like he's Mr. Ohio football. He walks on at Ohio State and he sits behind just amazing talent at Ohio State. But then he goes down to LSU and, historically is not the greatest, does not produce the greatest quarterbacks of all time, let's be honest. And he goes down there and just becomes the guy. It's just a college football story that I love. LSU fan or not.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think there's some interviews post coaching career with Ed O talking about the recruiting process for Joe Burrow, and they're great. If you haven't seen them, check them out. I can't remember off the top of my head what the name of the show was that he went on, but it's a great interview.
Well, I think player development is going to get swept under the rug, and I think it's never going to not be a center point of what needs to happen, but it won't always be a highlight. Because these guys that are coming out of the transfer portal, they need to get developed. They're coming out of high school, they sit a year, they transfer. They haven't taken game experience snaps, and you can't replace that. Like, in-game snaps is your best form of experience. So now you're going and transferring to the school, and you're honestly paying for upside. Like, you're paying for what you think this guy can get to. But the problem is now you're paying so much money that when this guy comes in, you're paying him a true starting role that's going to come in and make huge leaps and bounds of differences for your program. Whereas he might actually fundamentally need more years of experience that he has not gotten still because he hasn't been a starter until now. So that player development is still going to be a huge factor. It's just not going to be a focal point of what people look at, because a freshman guy coming in is always going to be better his senior year, and that's never going to change.
I mean, your strength and conditioning, your nutrition, getting them built up, that's what builds a team, and that's never going to go away. We'll see things, one-offs of just sparks go in, taking somebody all the way or far down the playoff route, but it's not going to replace a school that has a program that is consistently churning out great players on both sides of the ball.
And I think the money getting so high is what people are, they're expecting people just to be like, okay, we're paying this guy $1 million. He's going to come in and be a 1,000-yard receiver immediately.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it sometimes it will work out, sometimes it won't. But I mean, if he hasn't had time to really get accustomed to collegiate football and have those game experience snaps, then it might not work out. So to tie a bow on your LSU spring synopsis, what do you think that the record will be this year? What is your prediction that they will get this year? What does your successful season look like?
I think they're going to go 7-5.
Okay.
I think they're 4. I think they're 4, 6-6. And I think their ceiling is going to be 10-2. But I think anywhere in between, well, hopefully they don't go worse than 6-6 or 7-5. But I mean, I think they have the potential of beating Ole Miss at Ole Miss. I think they have the potential of beating Tennessee at Tennessee. I think they could beat Alabama and Texas. Like, their roster's there. They have the talent to beat anyone. We'll just see if the consistency can stay there, if they can stay healthy, and if the offense can hold its end of the team and not have defense carry everyone. So my final projections, I think they go 7-5 this year.
I think all of us have them going better than that. So hopefully you're pleasantly surprised.
Well, no matter what happens, we're all going to be excited to check out how LSU does this season. See if it lives up to the hype, lives up to the 7-5 prediction, or even better, we'll see. But this week, that's all we got here at Rack. So thank you, as always, for tuning in and listening. If you can, please leave us a review on whatever streaming platform that you're listening to us on. You can find all the links to our socials in the link tree in the description of the episode. For all of you that have joined over on those, thank you. For all of you that are going to, thank you as well. And thank you, Matt, for joining us for this LSU breakdown. It's been great. We can't wait to have you on to talk about Ole Miss and LSU a little bit later here in the season.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure, fellas.
Next week, we're going to be breaking down Georgia Tech season this year with a former Georgia Tech player. We'll have Will joining us, so we're all looking forward to some of that insight. Until then, we'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye.